Hello! Welcome to Also Driven, welcome to Lanzarote, and welcome to the electric Fiat 500. We've taken advantage of some of the low rates on the rental cars here to go and try out some of the vehicles we've really liked. So we've already done the Dacia, and now we're on to this electric Fiat. The electric Fiat 500 is available in the UK, but this one has something which you don't get on the UK cars, which is the extra door. Much like the Mini had a few years ago, you have the normal door which opens up, but then it'll catch here, and you have a little door to aid access to the back of the car. The extra door is not available in the UK because the problem is that this would be the driver's seat. So when I go to use it, whoever's in the back of the car would be getting out into traffic. This is something that many designers didn't seem to care about, but Fiat have decided that because the car is mainly for left-hand drive markets, this option is not available in the UK.
I think I'm going to be the first to admit it is quite neat back here, but again, it's a city car. The original 500 was not particularly big and it kind of stayed where it was, but yeah, definitely no long journeys.
Right, into drive, let's hit the road. So when you first drive away in the 500, it has a little sound generator to let you know, obviously, to like other road users, cyclists, pedestrians, that it's coming. And it plays a little bit of specially conducted Italian opera, as opposed to making Star Trek sounds like, you know, things like the Prius and things do. I have to say, it is quite cool, but unfortunately you don't really hear it inside the car, which is a bit of a shame, but you know. But I have had to put the windows down a few times and just like drive away and sort of like hear it go la 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 la. That is not a representation of how the car sounds. So this is around 30 grand's worth of Fiat 500. It comes with the larger battery pack. I think it's a 42 kilowatt hour. Gives it a range of just slightly under 200 miles. Not getting that here with it, but that's just how electric vehicles work. If we were using it in town, it would probably be an awful lot more economical. We're at 75% battery at the minute, and we have 110 miles. So we've used about 25% of the battery and seemingly about 90%, just sort of roughly about half the range. But if you're a town user, you're not going to notice about that. You can charge it up at home every night, it's perfectly fine. We've had some issues with charging here, as you can see with some of the other clips in the video. The Fiat has regen turned up to the max at the minute, so basically that means that we are on one pedal operation. I'm not sure if that's something I would sort of use out on the open road as much. It's really handy in cities. Would I buy one? Yes and no. The 100 and something mile range in the real world on a longer journey would really be a bit of a disadvantage to me. And secondly, the cost. 32,000 pounds in the UK. Although no one is paying that at the minute. You know, you can pick them up from the car supermarkets with 200 miles on them for 10k off that. And there probably isn't very long before they break the 20k and they're coming in at 19,995. For that, I don't know. I mean, it's not that much more expensive than a normal 500, but I do tend to use my cars differently to most people. I mean, this year alone, you know, we've driven to Italy twice, we've been to Portugal, and yes, it is possible to use an electric vehicle on those longer trips if they have a good range, but having to stop every 100 miles to charge in a different country where you're scrabbling with the language and whatever app you need in that country, you know, would get pretty old pretty quick. So for me, it's a no, but that's because I kind of have a very specific set of circumstances when it comes to car ownership. It's actually a very competent little car. The technology works really well. I can't fault it. The safety tech seems to be much more refined than it does in some of the other cars. When it picks up, like, you know, waddling over towards the white line, it just gently grabs you back again. And if it's a misfire, if it's picked up a white line that isn't actually really the edge of the road, it is quite easy to push through it. Some of the other cars that I've had that have had that sort of tech really fight you to get you back onto this imaginary line that it wants to keep you on. I was going to say that this would be a good electric attempt for Fiat as a first time, but I actually forget this is not their first electric car. Fiat have been making electric cars for close to 20 years. The first mass-produced one they did was actually the electric Panda, where they ripped out the back seats and put in basically a tray full of lead-acid batteries. Had a very small range, had very limited performance, but, you know, it was a production electric vehicle, which they had in the 1990s. Then they moved on to the Cinquecento. They did an electric version of the Cinquecento. This is not something new to them. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a dead end for this car, as Fiat is now part of Stellantis, and for cost-saving purposes, platforms and architecture of the electrical systems will all have to be shared, and this is unique to the Fiat. I mean, it was spun off the original 500 platform. It uses very much Fiat technology, and that will unfortunately come to an end, and it's a bit of a shame, really, because, you know, they're just going to be another badge engineered manufacturer where you can't tell the difference between whether it's a Peugeot 2008 or if it's a Vauxhall Corsa, which is a bit of a shame, really.
The touchscreen, I'd have to say, is all pretty snappy. I mean, everything does what it says it should do. It works quite well. I mean, this is all the inbuilt things, you know, as in it's a TomTom navigation system. The inbuilt music player and the home screen gives you sort of a mixed thing, gives you some information about the car. Climate control, basically just set it and go. Settings, and then that you go to your Android Auto. And again, everything is very smooth. It doesn't really have any issues. I'm quite happy with it. One of the joys of renting in the Canary Islands is they literally hand you a car and tell you off you go. So we have had zero instructions on how to charge this. But again, I mean, that's what they would do. I mean, if you rented a petrol car, they're not going to sit and go, well, you go to a petrol station and you put a nozzle in and you do this, that, and the other. So let's see how easy this is to work out. So we have logged in, charge point, and this charge point apparently doesn't exist. Oh well, it was worth a try. That didn't work out very well, but again, it's a learning experience. This is what a lot of people are going to find when they have an electric vehicle. I actually really like this car. You know, I don't have any agenda against it that I want to, like, you know, deliberately try and sabotage it. So let's see if we can sign up to a app with a phone in a foreign country to make this work, because the Shell Recharge one doesn't cover this, which is one of the major problems, I think, with a lot of the charging facilities. There was I Airbnb the spare room out in the house in Wales. One of the guys who had just driven his Kia Niro back from a trip to Ireland said he had 12 apps and cards just to make sure that he could charge. He didn't use all of them, but just so he could make sure that he actually had the ability to charge the car everywhere it went. And that is absolutely mind-blowingly ridiculous that you need that just to charge up your car. It's like the early days of computers. Everybody did something slightly differently, but it's where we are, and it's something that we'll have to change that if we want this to catch on properly. So, like, you know, I just want to put some power into a car, and they need my passport, they need the car registration, they need the type of vehicle, they need the model, they need my full name and address, which I kind of get that, you know, because obviously, you know, there probably is credit card issues, but, you know, I'm going to go through this and sort of, like, you know, like, why do they need my car registration? Okay, please select the socket. Okay, so we can only buy it in 5 kilowatts? Connect cable to the vehicle. Okay, this is actually going remarkably smoothly. We have a light on. Or no, it's just we have to use that one. I'm an idiot. So the one that's actually lit up isn't the one that I'm supposed to take. Right, okay. I know that all came across as a bit of a flaff, but considering one, there's language difficulties. Two, we had to use an app. Three, the mobile phone signal was quite weak. Four, I'm an idiot. That actually, I think, went quite well. I actually genuinely think that went quite well for... I've just been handed this car. I have no information about it other than it runs on electricity. And I have managed to drive 20 miles, 20 kilometers this morning, and plug it in and charge it up in a foreign country with only a mobile phone. Quite impressed by that.
While we're charging, let's have a little look around the inside of the 500. So, running around the controls, obviously very fancy steering wheel. This side, we've got telephone. This controls the menu options for the center section there. You can have hours of fun going through all the different settings on it. One of the things I want to find is maybe trying to sort of like slow down the regen a little bit on it, because it is very, very aggressive. As you can see, CarPlay is working fine, and my partner in crime is messaging me. This side of the steering wheel is your cruise control settings and also your speed limiter. It has this really nice sort of like long vent that runs along the dashboard the whole way across. It only has holes in certain places. Below the main screen, you've got your heating controls, and obviously you can lock the doors. Now, the weird thing about locking the doors is that Sean and I are very much used to these very old cars. These cars that are very clunk-click when they make noises. And to get in and out of the 500, you can press that button. So obviously everything is electric. So it means when you lock the doors, it doesn't actually make a noise. There's the tiniest little sound of a servo somewhere going. But other than that red light, you don't know you've locked the doors. It's very, very disconcerting for those of us who have got way older cars. The only thing that sort of bugs me, and I know this is sort of a thing, that people love tech and electric cars. Like, really? I mean, for 100 years we have opened the door with a lever, and for legal reasons, there still has to actually be another lever down there. So it really has engineered a solution to a problem that just did not exist. All a bit nonsensical. But it's seemingly what people with EVs, early adopters, seem to want. They want tech, they want gadgets, they want all the bits and pieces, so, you know, who am I to argue? Alright, now, where we got to? So we've got the heating controls are below that, seems to work very well. And you've got this nice little shelf in here, which has the skyline for Turin. Because obviously these cars are made in Turin. They're the first Fiat 500s that have been made in Turin, probably since the early 1970s. Going below that, you have your gear selector, which I'm not going to touch right now because I'm plugged in. On the other side, you've got a massive glove box, which has all the rental paperwork in it. And then in between front seats, you've got your volume control for the radio. It's an unusual place to put it. I kind of forget it's there. It's also on the back of the steering wheel. There's volume controls as well. This switches between the various different modes. So it comes in standard, it comes in range, and it comes in Sherpa. Sherpa basically really shuts down an awful lot of, well, according to Fiat, it shuts down an awful lot of the performance, removes the air conditioning facility and stuff like that. But other than the air conditioning going off, I don't really notice a huge difference in it. Nice little cubby hole for charging phones, bottles, also another USB socket, and then we have a little lever, opens up another cubby hole. So I told the charger in the app that I really only wanted to maybe take it up to about 85%. Has topped it up to 85% in not too many minutes, which I have to say I was quite impressed about. And we're going to head off now and find somewhere else to go do something else with the car. So we had some issues with the Hyundai getting these unlocked. So let's see, right, so that's still in. Do we have an end charge situation? If I tap that, RFID. Okay, car is not charging. Oh, got a button there. There we go, we have a button on this one. There we go, and that allows it to come out.
the quietness of it is what gets me. I mean, it really just is effortlessly quiet. We had the Army last year, and it was really, really lovely. But, you know, you did have that feeling of being somewhat in a go-kart. But with this, it just feels so much more sumptuous. So, what is our Fiat 500 like to drive? Actually, very nice. It's incredibly smooth, because obviously it's an electric motor. It has no gears, it just goes. And it's one of the things that I really noticed with the Dacia, the last car we tested, was that I kind of think that the petrol engine, especially in cheap cars, has kind of got as far as you're going to go with it. The Dacia came across as very harsh, very unrefined. The power delivery was kind of very off on. It just felt like you were constantly wringing its neck to get it to go anywhere. But this doesn't feel like that. This feels luxurious. It feels refined. Other than the little bit of extra tire noise, it just feels very sumptuous, very luxurious to drive. The tech is nice. Yeah, I have to say, I know I'm a bit of a Fiat fan, but I do genuinely like this. The only downsides to it is that it would not work for us because of range. So we reset the trip on the way up, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed with that sort of consumption. I mean, 12 kilometers for every kilowatt hour. I don't think that's too bad. Thank you for watching. It's been an experience having the 500 out with us for the day. Class it as a success. I would class it as a success. We got an electric vehicle. It came with no instructions. We're in a foreign country. We don't really speak the language. And it did everything that it was supposed to do. It got me to where I wanted to go. We were able to put fuel in it, and it's going to take me back. So I hope you enjoyed our little ramble of our impressions on it. And we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.